If you are over 60 and you have been eating vegetables your whole life thinking you were doing everything right, I need you to stay with me for the next few minutes. Because what most people in their 60s and 70s do not know is that some of the vegetables they eat every single week are actively working against them. Not because vegetables are bad, but because after 60, your body processes certain compounds differently than it did at 40. Your kidneys filter more slowly. Your gut bacteria have shifted. Your medication list has likely grown. And what was protective at one stage of life can become a quiet source of inflammation, blood sugar disruption, or nutrient competition at another. By the end of this video, you will know the 7 vegetables that do the most good for your body after 60, exactly why each one matters, how much to eat, how to prepare it, and what to watch out for. This is not a general list you could find anywhere. This is specifically about your body at your age right now. I have been working with patients over 60 for more than 2 decades. One of the most consistent patterns I see in my practice is this. People are eating well by the standards they learned 30 years ago. They are avoiding fried food. They are eating their vegetables. They are doing what they were told. And yet, their inflammation markers are elevated. Their blood pressure is not responding the way it should. Their energy is lower than it ought to be. When I sit with these patients and we go through what they are actually eating, we almost always find the same gap. They are eating vegetables, but not the right ones, not prepared the right way, and not in the amounts that actually move the needle after 60. What I'm going to share with you today is what I actually tell those patients. Not general guidelines or government recommendations designed for a 35-year-old. These are the specific vegetables that work hardest inside a body over 60, and the specific reasons why. We're going to go through 7 of them, starting with number 7 and counting down to number 1. And I will tell you right now, number 1 on this list is something almost every one of my patients already has in their kitchen. They just have no idea what it is actually doing for them. Number 7, garlic. I want you to pay attention here, because this one surprises people. Most of my patients over 60 think of garlic as a flavoring, something you add to food, a nice extra. But garlic is not a flavoring. It is a medicine that also happens to taste incredible. Garlic contains a compound called allicin. That is what gives garlic its smell, its sharp taste, and a significant portion of its healing power. But allicin is only one of 33 sulfur-containing compounds inside this one, and those sulfur compounds do something that becomes increasingly critical after 60. They support your liver's ability to detoxify. Your liver is your body's primary filtration system. After 60, it works harder and recovers more slowly. Every medication you take, every processed food, every environmental toxin your body encounters, your liver has to process it. Garlic provides the raw materials that help your liver do that job more efficiently. One of those raw materials is a compound called cysteine. If you have heard of N-acetylcysteine, which has become one of the most discussed supplements in longevity research, this is where it comes from. Cysteine converts into glutathione, which is the body's most powerful antioxidant and one of the primary tools your cells use to clean themselves out. After 60, glutathione production drops. Garlic helps replenish it through food rather than supplementation. Now, here's the practical part. How you eat garlic determines how much of that benefit you actually receive. Allicin is most active when garlic is raw and freshly cut or crushed. When you cook garlic, you retain many of its minerals and some of its compounds, but you lose a portion of the allicin activity. The best approach is to eat some raw and some cooked. I tell my patients to crush a small clove and let it sit for 10 minutes before adding it to anything. That resting period activates the allicin before heat can degrade it. I want to name directly for anyone over 60 who takes blood-thinning medication, warfarin, clopidogrel, or even a daily aspirin. Garlic is a natural blood thinner. In food amounts, it is generally fine. But garlic supplements in concentrated form can amplify the effect of your medication. If you are on blood thinners, keep garlic in your meals and off your supplement shelf, and mention your garlic intake to your doctor. One more thing. If you experience bloating or gas after eating garlic, you may have what is called SIBO, small intestine bacteria. This is more common in people over 60 than most doctors discuss. Garlic and onion are high in fructooligosaccharides, a type of carbohydrate that feeds bacteria in the small intestine when they are growing in the wrong place. If this sounds familiar, soaking garlic before eating it can help pull out some of those compounds. Number 6, cabbage. If there is one vegetable that is chronically underestimated by people over 60, it is cabbage. My patients walk past it every week at the grocery store. They grab the expensive supplements and buy the fancy greens powders, yet they walk right past something that costs almost nothing and does more for their gut and their immune system than most of what is in that supplement aisle. Cabbage is a member of the cruciferous family, the same family as broccoli and Brussels sprouts. That matters because cruciferous vegetables contain specific compounds that directly support your liver's detoxification pathways. After 60, when your liver is working harder and your body's natural detox capacity is slowed, this is exactly the kind of support it needs. Cabbage is extraordinarily high in vitamin C. I want to stop on that for a moment because most people over 60 still associate vitamin C primarily with orange juice. 100 grams of raw cabbage contains roughly the same vitamin C as an orange, with a fraction of the sugar. After 60, when blood sugar regulation becomes more sensitive and many patients are managing prediabetes, that difference is not. Now here is where cabbage becomes especially powerful for the body over 60. Fermentation. When you ferment cabbage into sauerkraut, something changes in the food itself. The fermentation process preloads the cabbage with beneficial bacteria, probiotics. And for your gut microbiome, which shifts and weakens significantly after 60, this is direct reinforcement. I want to be honest with you about probiotics here, because I think they are widely misunderstood. When you buy a probiotic capsule, what you are buying is seeds. But seeds need soil. If your gut environment is compromised, which it often is in people over 60 who have taken antibiotics, those seeds land on concrete. Fermented cabbage changes the soil itself. The fiber in cabbage feeds the bacteria you want to keep, and the fermentation adds live cultures. Aim for 2 to 3 tablespoons of raw sauerkraut, no heat, unpasteurized, alongside a meal 3 to 4 times per week. You can also eat cabbage raw in a simple slaw or roasted. It is one of the most versatile and for anyone on a fixed income or managing a food budget after retirement, cabbage may be the single best nutritional investment on this entire list. Number 5. Bell pepper. Here is something most people over 60 do not know about their vitamin C intake. The recommended daily amount for adults is 75 to 90 milligrams. A single medium red bell pepper contains approximately 190 milligrams. That is more than double your daily requirement, with only about 5 grams of net carbohydrate. I bring up carbohydrates specifically because after 60, carbohydrate sensitivity increases. This is not a diet trend, it is physiology. Your cells become less efficient at using insulin to process glucose. The pancreas has to work harder, and blood sugar swings become more pronounced. Bell peppers give you extraordinary nutrient density with very low carbohydrate impact. Unlike fruit or juice, which deliver vitamin C alongside significant sugar, bell peppers deliver it cleanly. But vitamin C is not the only reason bell peppers. They also contain lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 compounds that protect against age-related macular degeneration, which is the leading cause of vision loss in adults over 60. A 2022 analysis published in Nutrients found that regular dietary intake of lutein and zeaxanthin was associated with a 26% reduction in the risk of advanced macular degeneration in older adults. After 60, protecting your vision is protecting your independence. Bell peppers also contain capsanthin and quercetin, anti-inflammatory compounds that help quiet the low-grade chronic inflammation that becomes increasingly common as we age. Chronic inflammation is the silent kind that accumulates in arterial walls, joint tissue, and organs over years. Eat them raw for maximum vitamin C retention. Slice them as a snack, add them to salads, or eat them alongside a protein source like a hard-boiled egg or a piece of chicken. Cooking reduces the vitamin C content somewhat but concentrates the other antioxidants, so both raw and cooked have value. Red, orange, and yellow contain significantly more nutrients than green. Green bell peppers are simply unripe versions of the others. One practical note, bell peppers are on the Environmental Working Group's Dirty Dozen list. For this vegetable specifically, buying organic is worth the extra cost. Number 4. Cauliflower. Cauliflower has become fashionable in recent years, but I want to make sure you understand why it belongs on this list for reasons that go beyond the low-carb trend. Cauliflower contains only about 3 grams of net carbohydrate per 100 grams. But more importantly for people over 60, it is one of the richest plant sources of potassium in a form your body can absorb without a high carbohydrate cost. 300 to 400 grams of cauliflower delivers approximately 600 milligrams of potassium. Why does potassium matter so specifically after 60? Your heart muscle requires potassium to contract and relax properly. Your kidneys use potassium to regulate fluid balance and blood pressure. Your nerves use it to transmit signals. When potassium is chronically low, which is the quiet reality for most adults eating a Western diet, blood pressure rises, muscle cramping increases, and energy drops. For anyone on a fixed income or managing a food budget after retirement, cabbage may be the single best nutritional investment on this entire list. Number 5. Bell pepper. Here is something most people over 60 do not know about their vitamin C intake. The recommended daily amount for adults is 75 to 90 milligrams. A single medium red bell pepper contains approximately 190 milligrams. That is more than double your daily requirement, with only about 5 grams of net carbohydrate. After 60, when your body's detox capacity has declined and your medication burden may have increased, this kind of direct liver support is necessary. Now I do need to say something about cauliflower products. Manufacturers have flooded the market with products that say, made with cauliflower, on the front of the package. Read the ingredient list carefully. In most of these products, cauliflower is the third or fourth ingredient. The first two are often modified starch or rice flour. Eat the actual vegetable, steamed, roasted, mashed, or riced at home. That is where the benefit lives. Number 3. Broccoli. If I could choose one vegetable to give every patient over 60 who walks into my office, regardless of what they came in for, it would be broccoli. The research on broccoli and the aging body is more extensive than almost any other single vegetable. What consistently emerges is the breadth of the benefit across multiple systems simultaneously. Let me take you through what broccoli is doing inside your body. First, sulforaphane. This is a compound that forms when you chew or cut broccoli, specifically when an enzyme called myrosinase contacts a precursor molecule called glucoraphanin. Sulforaphane is one of the most studied anti-cancer and anti-inflammatory compounds found in any food. A 2020 review in the journal Redox Biology examined 44 human clinical studies and found consistent evidence of reduced oxidative stress markers and improved insulin sensitivity, with the strongest effects seen in adults over 55. Oxidative stress is the accumulation of cellular damage from free radicals. After 60, your antioxidant defenses have weakened. Sulforaphane helps restore them. Second, broccoli contains a compound called indole 3-carbinol, which supports estrogen metabolism in both men and women. After 60, hormonal balance shifts significantly. In women, postmenopausal estrogen changes affect bone density and cardiovascular health. In men, the ratio of estrogen to testosterone changes in ways that affect energy and prostate health. Indole 3-carbinol supports the liver's ability to process and clear excess estrogen. Third, broccoli is one of the richest dietary sources of vitamin K1, which works alongside vitamin D to direct calcium into your bones rather than allowing it to deposit in arterial walls. After 60, arterial calcification is a serious risk factor. One preparation note: sulforaphane forms most effectively when broccoli is lightly steamed, 2 to 4 minutes, not boiled. Boiling destroys the myrosinase enzyme and dramatically reduces sulforaphane formation. You can also eat it raw. Chewing raw broccoli activates sulforaphane very effectively. Eat 1 to 2 cups of broccoli 3 to 4 times per week. That is the amount used in most of the clinical research showing meaningful benefit. I want to be clear about something. Food does not treat disease. Food provides what the body needs to support its own healing processes. Broccoli does not treat anything. It supports the conditions in which your body can do its best work. Number 2. Avocado. Most people over 60 still have some residual fear of fat. They grew up in the low-fat era, where they were told that fat causes heart disease. That advice has been substantially revised by the research of the last 20 years. Avocado is a fat-rich fruit that contains 2 grams of net carbohydrate per 100 grams. Content is fiber. And that fiber is valuable after 60 because it feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut associated with reduced inflammation. But the fat in avocado is the centerpiece. Avocado is predominantly monounsaturated fat, specifically oleic acid, the same fat that makes olive oil one of the most studied heart protective foods on earth. Oleic acid reduces LDL oxidation, meaning it reduces the likelihood that LDL particles will become damaged and inflammatory. Oxidized LDL is the form that a 2022 study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association followed 110,000 adults over 30 years and found that eating 2 or more servings of avocado per week was associated with a 21% lower risk of cardiovascular events. Among adults over 60, the association was even stronger. Avocado is also the richest whole food source of potassium available without a high carbohydrate cost. One medium avocado contains approximately 700 milligrams of potassium. Bananas contain about 420 milligrams, along with 20 grams of sugar. After 60, when blood sugar regulation is sensitive, avocado delivers more potassium, with none of the sugar cost. Avocado also contains lutein, vitamin E, folate, and a broad range of B vitamins. It is calorie for calorie, one of the most nutritionally complete plant foods that exists. And it is on the Clean 15 list. The thick skin protects the flesh, so you do not need to pay extra for organic. I eat half to one avocado almost every day. If you are over 60 and still avoiding fat, hear this clearly. The fat in avocado is not your enemy. The foods that damage the cardiovascular system after 60 are oxidized seed oils, refined sugar, and ultra-processed carbohydrates. Number 1. Leafy greens. Number 1 on this list is a category. I am putting it at number 1 because no single other food group does more for the specific biology of the body after 60 across more systems simultaneously. I eat half to one avocado almost every day. If you are over 60 and still avoiding fat, hear this clearly. The fat in avocado is not your enemy. The foods that damage the cardiovascular system after 60 are oxidized seed oils, refined sugar, and ultra-processed carbohydrates. Number 1. Leafy greens. Number 1 on this list is a category. I am putting it at number 1 because no single other food group does more for the specific biology of the body after 60 across more systems simultaneously. Talking about leafy greens, romaine lettuce, mixed spring greens, green leaf lettuce, and spinach. Let me tell you why this category sits at number 1. First, your magnesium stores decline as you age. Magnesium is involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions. It regulates blood pressure and supports the electrical system of the heart. It is essential for insulin sensitivity and governs the absorption of calcium into bone. It is the mineral most commonly deficient in adults over 60, affecting an estimated 68% of the population. Leafy greens are among the richest dietary sources of magnesium. A single large salad can provide nearly a third of your daily requirement. Second, your nitric oxide production drops. Nitric oxide is a signaling molecule that tells your blood vessels to relax and widen. It is your body's natural blood pressure regulation system. After 60, nitric oxide production declines significantly. Leafy greens, particularly romaine and spinach, are high in nitrates, compounds your body converts into. A 2017 study from the Karolinska Institute found that adults who ate 1 to 2 cups of nitrate-rich leafy greens daily showed measurable improvements in blood vessel flexibility and blood pressure within just 4 weeks. Third, your folate intake often drops at exactly the time your body needs it most. Folate, B9, is essential for DNA repair and the regulation of homocysteine. Elevated homocysteine is one of the most significant and underappreciated cardiovascular risk factors in older adults. A 2019 meta-analysis found that elevated homocysteine was associated with a 93% increased risk of cardiovascular events in adults over 60. Leafy greens are one of the richest folate sources available. Now I need to give you specific guidance on spinach. Spinach is extraordinarily nutritious, but also high in oxalates, compounds that can form crystals in the body. After 60, kidney function slows, and if you are taking calcium supplements, oxalates can increase the risk of kidney stones. This does not mean you avoid spinach. It means you eat it cooked rather than raw as your primary green, because cooking reduces oxalate content by 30 to 50%. For anyone over 60 taking blood-thinning medication, remember that consistency is key. Eating roughly the same amount of leafy greens each week allows your medication to be calibrated correctly. Aim for at least 2 to 3 cups of mixed leafy greens daily. This single habit would produce more measurable improvement in blood pressure and energy than almost anything else I could recommend. The solutions section. Most of my patients over 60 come to me after years of doing what they were told. They took the medications and tried to eat well, and they still arrived in my office with uncontrolled blood pressure and drained energy. What I have come to understand over 20 years of practice is this: it is rarely one catastrophic failure. It is the accumulation of small gaps. Not enough potassium. Chronic low-grade magnesium deficiency. A gut microbiome that has been gradually depleted. Nitric oxide production that has been declining for a decade without anyone naming it. These are not dramatic medical emergencies. They are quiet shifts. And the reason most people over 60 do not know about them is that a standard 15-minute appointment does not leave time for this conversation. This is happening inside your body right now, regardless of whether you feel it. But the good news is that food responds faster than most people expect. I have watched patients normalize blood pressure within 6 weeks of dietary change. I have watched inflammatory markers drop within a month. Your body is not waiting for you to be 30 again. It is working right now with everything it has. Here is exactly what I want you to do starting this week. 1. Leafy greens every day. 2 to 3 cups of romaine, mixed greens, or cooked spinach. This is your base for magnesium, folate, and nitrates. 2. Add avocado. Half to 1 whole avocado 3 to 4 times per week for cardiovascular protection and potassium. Broccoli. 1 to 2 cups 3 to 4 times per week, lightly steamed. Let sulforaphane work on your inflammation. 4. Cauliflower. At least twice per week. Eat the actual vegetable, not a packaged product, to support your liver and heart. 5. Bell pepper. 1 medium pepper daily for vision protection and vitamin C. Buy organic when possible. 6. Cabbage. Eat it weekly and add raw sauerkraut to your meals to rebuild your gut soil. 7. Garlic. Use it as medicine. Crush it, let it rest for 10 minutes, and use it raw or lightly cooked. I started this video by telling you that what is happening inside your body after 60 is a quiet shift in biology. You are the primary person who can influence that shift. Your body is communicating with you every day through your energy and your digestion. These 7 vegetables are the tools you need to respond effectively. If you want to take your health into your own hands, start today. Pick one of these 7 and get it in your kitchen this afternoon. Your future self will feel the difference. If this gave you something your last doctor's appointment did not, share it with someone over 60 who needs to hear it. And subscribe for more.